having tenants, because that is an important way to get more money in if you have the ability to do that. Sometimes it can be, you know, in your own space if you're renting out a basement or a separate property on your property. Sometimes it's an income property that's away from where you are. You've been a landlord, you're like several times over, Scott. We've all been landlords, actually.
Yes.
So you suggest that you should do a few things for a tenant to make this a little bit easier for them.
Well, the first thing that I would say is, you know, I think people are intimidated by the word tenant and the idea of investing in real estate, but any wealthy real estate individual, like or someone who's had success in real estate, probably has had to rent at some portion because it makes sense financially.
Yeah.
So I always say, don't think of it as tenant, think of it as a customer. And any business that wants to be successful needs customers. So if you want to be in the real estate business, you need customers. And there's ways to manage that, to mitigate any risk, and to make sure that you've got a great relationship. And so these are just a couple of the tips and tricks that we use. And the first one would be to document everything. So first thing is I've got my rental forms, my tenant application. So in here, I would always, whenever I'm encountering a tenant, I'll have them fill out a tenant application. That allows me to check references, do credit checks, things like that. Then once a tenant has been selected, you always sign a lease. Always, always, always. And there's a third form that's pretty handy. We'll do like a walkthrough form with the tenant, so which states the condition of the walls, the doors, how many keys they received, and they sign off on everything. Really important on there is that the tenants sign off that all the smoke alarms are installed and in working condition. So if there's ever an issue, it's maybe they took it down, or you know, they stole the battery for the converter. It happens.
Right.
And if something ever happens, as a landlord, you could be liable. But if I have them sign off, our property managers do that, and that way you've mitigated your responsibility.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah. The other thing, as soon as the tenants move in, I love this one. It's give them a gift.
Yeah.
Give them a card and a gift, a bottle of wine. Now, you know, heads up on the bottle of wine. We used to give a bottle of wine to all of our tenants when they moved in, and then I realized some of my students were 18 years old.
They love
You irresponsible
I'm such a popular landlord. But,
you'd be my favorite landlord.
Yes.
yeah, so giving them a gift when they move in really sort of sets the tone. Again, it's like a customer. You want to treat them well. We do a property portfolio for every property. Most of this stuff is also now done online. Like, we've got a digital version, but I still like the hard copy. And in here, I mean, this is like the Bible for your property. You've got extra keys in here. You've got all your signed documents and leases. Everything's fine, easy to find. You've got any manuals.
Smart.
You've got call sheets for all the utilities if anything goes wrong.
Yeah.
So this is sort of like your guide to managing the property.
That's
this
so
is what you
good.
keep as the landlord, and certain things go to the tenants. And then a toolkit. And here are some of the common items that, as a landlord, you don't have to be, you know, a superstar or contractor to be a landlord, but you should be able to do paint touch-ups and clean a carpet stain and put a lockbox on. So these are some of the items that I used to sort of wander around with when I managed my properties. So even if I'm just there showing it, I'm touching it up.
You need a cell phone in there so you can call the person that's going to do all that stuff.
Exactly. And that's the key. That's the key, to have great trades on call that you have, because you really want to treat your tenants the way you want to be treated.
Yeah.
So if there is a problem, you want to fix
With the plumbing
right away. So you want to build a
huge.
relationship with plumbers and electricians and AC people.
Yes.
So when there is a problem, you can call them, and they are going to be there that day. Keep your tenant happy, and so alleviate all the problems.
Keep the rent coming in.
Keep the rent coming in, so keep them happy. And when you guys have both said that when you have good tenants, you want them to stay for a very long time.
Yes.
Because if you have bad tenants, it's actually very difficult to say bye.
It's a whole other,
right?
Well, you just don't want a lot of turnover, because every time you turn over a tenant, you have to paint and do things. So we have one tenant in particular. Well, we have a lot of tenants, but one is such a great tenant and such a great guy, and we haven't given a rent increase in years, just because I thought he's just such a great guy. Just keep him happy.
That's good.
That's what we always
Our
did
first
too.
tenant that we had at our first house, I remember he came over, and we were not even married yet, and I used to play mass at Caravana, so my girlfriends would sleep over, and in the morning we'd put on our bikinis and our headpieces. He had just moved in, so we're in the backyard in bikinis. He's like, "What's happening here? Is this what you guys do
every Sunday?"
Like, welcome.
Big
He's like,
score
"I'm
for
gonna
that
like
guy.
it here a lot."